Hey everybody, happy last week before interim rates, and I'm hoping to get this working off of. It doesn't want to play today. So as you can see, let's see how sound would be too, because that's kind of been annoying. Because if at least sound works for a minute, I will go and get the other stuff we need. Okay. So there we are live. And then here is one of the most recent 8-week groups I've gotten access to. I'm going to try to share this with y'all because this is called the Grief Recovery Method. And it's kind of a big deal just because it's talking about different ways to get through grief in an 8-week group that a lot of folks will use, specifically at hospice. So there is a way to get certified in this at hospice. And that was a big deal to use that certification because there's a lot of things that can lead to grief. So this is kind of their training piece. So it's called Grief Recovery Method Specialist. So as you get certified in this, we're pleased to begin your 8-week grief recovery method support group. This next page is the leader's guide to a simple table of contents for the 8-week program. Many specialists pre-make their graph examples on a flip chart or poster boards. They have them ready to demonstrate. What the special day is and why it's special. So print off the blank calendar here. Let me see if this one will work. If I open it in Google Chrome, that'll be helpful too. Because they've got different things you could write in, why it was a special day. Downloadable calendar. It could be like grandma passed away or mom and dad anniversary. Then different things that they give for support. So those are all helpful and interesting. And then why you do the grief calendar, because it's kind of how you get through it. And you can find a lot of this stuff for the training on griefrecoverymethod.com. So there's another link inside of that PDF that I'll be sending to y'all through chats. And they have the ebook download. Hello. It is hot in here. Is that window's even open too, isn't it? Isn't that kind of crazy? So I got another training manual about the grief recovery method.
I'll be right back.
Okay, that's fine. Actually, I'm going to play one of their testimonials. I have to do the same thing. So this one is 3 minutes. Let's do that.
Of my own broken heart. I love these groups. I love this work. I knew in 5th grade I wanted to help people. I wanted to make a difference and help them feel better.
I came to this work honestly to find some tools to help other people. I, in my mind, thought that I was okay.
As a hospital and hospice chaplain, I went looking for ways to help other people because I was just neck deep in grief and grievers on almost a daily basis. What I didn't count on was that it would be personal.
I got into this because of my own broken heart going through a divorce. And when I was done with that, I had a whole list of other losses that I wanted to work on, but instead of being overwhelmed by that, this process just lovingly and gently guided me through this chaos and and all this that was going on in my heart. When I came to the grief recovery method, I came because my father had died by suicide, and I didn't know what to do to help myself feel better at that moment. So I needed help. I was so upset. I was so lost. I lived in a fog, which wasn't working for raising my kids. So I came looking for help and found this method, and it was absolutely what I needed.
I work for the Grief Recovery Institute and have taken hundreds and hundreds of people through this process. It's been a remarkable journey, not only for myself and my own healing, but also watching everyone else go through.
I take a lot of calls or hear from a lot of people who call into the Institute. I personally came to this work recently, and I really love speaking to people and helping them find out that there is hope.
Something I love about the groups is everyone's coming in with a sense of fear and not feeling super comfortable with this huge wound in their heart. So they get to come in and they get to realize not only that they're not alone, but also find hope and courage in another person, which strengthens them. It becomes this intermingled process where they're holding space for one another and really growing alongside another human.
I did bring up the loss of my mom, and as we walked through the process, I realized that I was clueless to the amount of pain and unresolved grief that was actually in that relationship. Before I came, I couldn't look at a picture of my mom, and I didn't really know why, but there was all this unresolved grief under it. And when I left, I was able to look at a picture of her mom. I have a picture of her on my desk now and enjoy the happy memories without all of that pain.
Every time I have a session with grievers, I go home and tell my wife, this is why I do this. Because I see the transformation, I see the effect it has on the grievers that I'm working with.
For me, this has become a lifestyle of being complete and having a whole heart again, even when it's been broken. I'm so honored to do this work. I can't believe I get to do this every day. I get to watch people grow and blossom in front of my eyes and heal and recover.
Okay.
I couldn't think of anything more wonderful that I get to do in life.
Every single time I do this, I'm motivated and energized to continue doing it.
That's the power of this process. And that's why I love what I get to do every day.
All right. We got Blake and Tia on here. So I got a workbook for the grief recovery method. It's like another 8-week group that we could, an example of what we could lead for grief. Grief specifically, because a lot of companies will use different trauma groups or grief recovery. I forgot, were you going to lead your groups? Not today. Okay. I want to make sure, as if you guys let me go, it is so hot in here. I'm done. I'm done.
It's probably been because the room ain't been used in a week.
And the window was open?
Yeah.
Well, how did you all survive your break?
It was cool.
Did you make it?
Do what?
Did you make it?
Oh, yeah.
Because it has been, I feel like right now, there's so many things going on. And then you all got midterms. How about that? Then you all have to get registered if you're taking classes in the fall or the summer. Are you doing fall and summer or just? Okay. And then 85 other things. See, here's somebody else who wants to be registered. How hard is it to get a hold of us? Harder than the first year registrants? Like Beyonce and, or were they harder to get a hold of? Because you had to
like when we were freshmen,
that was hard.
we didn't even have like a set advisor.
Really?
I think during COVID,
Okay.
the advisor for the College of Humanities, I think she left. So
Okay.
like I didn't even know about the whole like faculty advisor thing.
Until this semester.
no, until second semester last year. I'm like,
Okay.
I was just confused. I knew what my classes were, but I never had like to sit down with somebody and schedule.
Right. To make sure you're on the right path and you got your check
And
sheet.
then I had Mr. Hill, and he wasn't even on campus. He called me. He literally called me private. I guess he didn't want me having his number. No one wants your number. I emailed him, didn't email me back. I would text him, wouldn't text me back. I had him for some of my classes too.
So he would just do it over the phone, like, well, you should take intro.
Yeah, but then it's like he didn't even know anything about me. Like he didn't look at my transcript. He was like, "Well, this is an accelerated course. I don't know if you're okay with that." Basically, calling me stupid. But I'm like, I had a 4.0
You're
for
like, dude.
three semesters, so I think I can handle it. He was like, "Oh, well, that's great. That's great." Yeah, you didn't even look at my transcripts. Like,
Mhm.
he's so lame. Like, then you put me in class I didn't need. So that was great. But I think y'all are easier to get a hold of because we got classes, y'all. Like no matter what, really.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was easier.
Since we are a smaller department.
It's it gets just almost so busy sometimes. You're like, how is this even possible? So I actually did have someone I knew that recently had a daughter commit suicide. And I wanted to check this one too. I don't know if. So this is a method we use at hospice for loss.
The initial loss that brought me to the grief recovery is my brother, my youngest brother. I'm the oldest of four, and he completed suicide. That amongst my divorce, my parents got divorced a few months prior to that, and me being the eldest, I was always told to be strong, and I wasn't. And I'm a very social person. I'm a very happy person. And after he died, I isolated myself. I took myself out of a lot of things. I wouldn't answer the phone. I wasn't smiling, and I was just miserable. I wasn't myself. I was quiet and to myself, and I didn't appreciate who I was. And I had 2 young children, and I knew something had to change. I couldn't live the rest of my life with that weight and with that undescribed grief, really. And I knew I needed to find something. It was an answer to my prayers. When I had lost my brother, when my brother died, a few days after he had died, I had this spiritual premonition. I don't know how you would describe it, but this thought kept resonating with me that through this, I would get through this, and I would work through this, and I would be able to bless other people and help other people. And with the Grief Recovery Institute and their grief recovery methods, I was able to participate in a group setting. And that group, with that wonderful specialist, helped me realize very quickly that I could have my life back, and that I could, like her, be able to bless so many people with healing and being able to become the person that you wanted to be, and the one that I was lacking, because I wanted to be happy and myself, really, and be able to give that back to my children.
So this is, I'm going to email you guys this manual because I was always saying I only ever had Girl Circle. I recently had somebody at hospice willing to share this with me. I think it's a $3,000 training, but to learn how to lead the groups, there's a book that goes with this grief recovery method, and it is specific to loss. So they do have like some of these examples where you could like make a calendar, like if there's a special day, like remembering somebody you lost on a certain day. If this is March, so actually I feel like my aunt recently said this is when my grandma died in 1992, and just like having a space to people recover from that grief. So it is about 100-page manual that teaches you how to run this group. That the website is griefrecoverymethod.com, and there's lots of different. I wonder if they actually have a free book or if it's let's see here. I guess it does. It probably asks you for like one of your emails, though, I'm sure. So I'm going to go with my email that I send every email to. You always got to have one of those. It's like a no-name email. And like as you guys get into picking out your internships.
Okay, so when do we get to know like what internships like are offered? Because I'm just thinking just to keep it
It is. So she might even be able to like schedule something with you soon.
that's what I know. Like,
You're a senior next year?
Yeah.
I guess the first question is, do you want to take it in the fall or do you want to take it in the spring? Okay. So it may be longer out. If you were registering now, then you would probably be talking about it right now. Because didn't you already register for fall? And then you're registering for fall soon, right?
Already.
So if you had field, you would be probably talking right now.
So what I want to do. So I was looking at jobs in Dallas, and it's not really much I can do like without my master's.
Oh, right.
I just wanted to have like a year into the job and then work to get my master's online and stuff through North Kentucky. But
NKU.
yeah.
Because they have a good funding source, I believe.
Yeah. And I wanted to do that. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I can't do any like counseling jobs. So I was looking at like doing something at like a domestic violence shelter,
Mhm.
like a shelter, and do like
We do have one of those.
intake, and that's what I want to do.
Okay.
Or
We have a
like,
Xenia shelter.
Yeah.
Because I
Or
remember
would, like,
Star worked at
work
one.
with teens, like troubled teens or average
Yeah.
youth. But I think I was talking to Angel, and she said she's doing something with like pregnant teenagers. I feel like I was going to do something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what's
I mean, if you really want to, you could meet with her now for next year and talk with her. Is she one of your advisors? Has she ever been? Because I know that she and I have moved around with different. We had to take all the Solomons. Now this year there's only 2 of us, and then next year there might be 4 of us. So it's so hard to keep it
How's
straight.
that going? The search for the teachers?
We think at least the second one. The first guy thought he was applying for director, so he doesn't want the job. The female who taught Nikita's class, if that's the one you're in, are you in her class?
Yeah, but I didn't use it.
We want to extend an offer to her. We don't know if she'll take it or not. Most people, because you take a pay cut to teach in social work, you make more practicing. A lot of people are not willing to do that. Or do both at the same time. So we should have one offer there. We're allowed to make 2 offers. So we should have 4 full-time faculty. And yeah, all of these different things that they want us to be a part of here. That's tenure and promotion stuff, and then retention, honorary degrees. It's kind of interesting. So, oh yeah, they're trying to sell me something. Didn't I just already submit? Hopefully they already sent it. So yes, to lead groups, a lot of times you'll have specialty trainings. It probably came right to my junk. You ever look through your junk emails? Like you're just like bored one day and you're like, I wonder if I can look through this stuff. There's some weird things that come through junk email, like seriously. And it's kind of scary. But so grief recovery method. Another thing that they have you do is look at STERBS. And I had to actually search that. Any of you know what STERBS would be? I totally forgot.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
Right. It's hard to figure it out. So STERBS is a way people do grief recovery, and it's called short-term energy relieving behavior. Like, now I wish it wasn't 11 minutes. I was going to say, if there's something that's a few minutes, that would be better. But short-term energy relieving behavior. Sometimes it is drugs and alcohol.
Talk to you guys about STERBs. They're short-term energy relieving behaviors. I talk about this all the time. I talk about it in presentations, one-on-ones, and I wanted to just briefly cover them with you and remind you about what they are again, because a lot of us are doing it and don't even realize that that's what we're doing instead of dealing with our grief or dealing with our S, as I like to say. And what are they? Things that you're doing to avoid feelings. Eating, drinking, watching too much TV, isolating yourself, not getting back to people. It's one thing to get back to people in a day or two. It's another to just completely lose track. Travel. You're using travel.
That's true.
Get
I
your
didn't think
mind
about
off
that.
Let's get away. Try to escape something, right? When you come back, what happens? You got to deal with your stuff again anyway. Working too much. Or working extra hours to avoid either going home, dealing with some stuff, dealing with relationships. It's awkward. I've been there, done that. And working out a lot. That can also be a STERB. So they feel good in the moment. They feel good. They give us some relief. We have this pent up energy. We get some relief in the short term. But if you're doing that, and only you know, but if you are doing these things to avoid doing your work and getting to the bottom of it, it's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. So I'm here to remind you to look at those things. Pay attention to those things. Pay attention to them in your loved ones. Bring it up in a safe time and encourage them to do the work. All of this is unresolved grief, all of it. So if you are avoiding those things, it's not healthy. I've been doing some cleanup work, and last week I was talking to my trusted source and said, I thought blah, 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 blah. I was trying to go through something, and I thought, okay, maybe I am doing that too much. So I catch myself doing it, even though I'm aware of it. So it goes on, and we just do the best we can. But we want to be here to help you to avoid the prolonged pain. That's essentially what it is. And so I just want to put that in your mind today, this evening, as you go about your business and go about dinner, and get ready for school, because I know there's a lot of parents, caregivers, moms, dads out there that are experiencing a lot of pain, a lot of hurt going into the new school year, and this might be the time to address that. New year, new you, as they say. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come fast. You have to do the work.
So does any of
All
that
right. Be well.
make
Talk to you
sense to
soon.
you guys? Like short-term energy relieving behaviors. And that's sometimes what we do to avoid quite a bit of things. So let me get back to this. So starting out, usually week one, we're going to distribute the grief recovery handbooks, have your folks going through the method, doing the introducing you to how you'll get through a grief. There is homework, so you like model a loss history graph. So this is a big one that a lot of folks do. I never heard this until I had done counseling for a while. And some people do a trauma graph, some people do a loss history graph, but like kind of just like detailing things as much as a death or a suicide, even a loss of a pet, a divorce, or something in the family that comes up. So like seeing all the things that we've been exposed to. Then different commitments that you'll have, different ways that you're going to share it with other folks, and you're done by week 8. So then you go to how do you translate the lines on the relationship graph into recovery components. And it's almost like a 12-step recovery method, which is interesting because it's kind of having you work through all of your loss. He's got like Mary S., the dad had died. Then you've got Jim B. He's doing it for his whole group. Mom's birthday, anniversary and birthday, football games with dad, son's birthday. So just like an example of significant events that were important to you for your calendar. And mind you, this is something used at hospice for when folks had died. Here's that list she was talking about. So food, alcohol and drugs, smoking, tobacco, exercise, fantasy, so like TV and books and movies, sex, shopping, workaholism. Can you guys think of anything else that could go onto that list? They did say travel, which was interesting. Is I'm like, well, isn't that just like what people do for fun, a vacation? But it is a way of avoiding like pain and suffering and just like life on life's terms, like even moving sometimes. Like I'm moving to a new city. That's it. I'm moving. I'm going to freaking. And I always had somebody say, like, if you're running to something, that's good. That's okay. But if you're running from something, then it might be problematic behavior, like, so consider your intentions of why you're going that far away for. Is it a STIRB, a short-term energy relieving behavior? I always
My
forget that.
mom had moved us to Dallas Fort Worth for 11 months. Not even a year. We just up and left the house.
Really?
Our family friend lived in. We just up and left, and then we was only in Texas for 11 months. Not even a year.
So you think it was a STIRB?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Randomly just up and left.
How did you handle it?
It was difficult because all of my friends was obviously in Detroit and stuff, and I could meet a whole new group of people down south.
Yeah.
North.
So you were like on Facebook to talk to them,
Yeah.
or whatever you use now. I don't even know what you guys use.
Yeah, but I did. I was okay though. Like it was good for me to like meet people and stuff like that. It wasn't that hard to be around people. But,
And then you moved back,
yeah.
and they're like, "Oh, hey, where you been?
Yeah.
What grade was it?"
10th grade.
Damn.
Dang, that's crazy.
I had to change schools in 5th grade. Actually, for me, it was schools, but I moved 5th grade, and then for whatever reason, my mom hated it, and then I went back in 6th grade. So it felt the same because I was young enough that it was like, I don't know. So yeah, like different things that you do. And so that's why I wanted to share this, because I was giving you guys different illustrations of groups you could lead and ways people had recovered from it. So I was 15 when grandma died. Little brother was 5. I was told I had to be strong for my brother. In effect, I was taught that my feelings didn't count. Years later, it seemed logical for me to be strong for my dad when his father, my grandfather, died. And so different misinformation for losses. Like, don't feel bad, be strong. And it's like, you never get to deal with it. So, other loss history graph, STRBs, accidents and illnesses. So really just getting out on paper and looking at it. Like, what do we do to recover from it? And then getting into some of the different homework assignments. So I wanted to share those. And then getting on to forgiveness. So when we print those, and also maybe significant emotional statements. Or apologies, like people that try to make things right, or at the end they kind of do that 12-step work, which is like making amends. How do I make things right with folks? Take your relationship graph and go through it. And I was glad she shared it with me. I didn't think, this is one of my supervisees. I'm like, do you have like just the book that tells you how to run this group? She's like, yeah, I'll send it to you. And she didn't send it for like months and months and months. I'm like, I don't think she wants to share. I'm like, just so you know, it's okay if you don't want to share it, because it is like a $3,000 class they have to pay for to take and get access to. She's like, no, I'll share it. And she did. So here's some of the statements. Feel free to use some of the apologies, forgiveness, acknowledgments, and significant emotional statements that people would use. So here's some examples with like the recovery components. It talks about like, Dad, when we played ball, I really felt proud of both of us, and I appreciated all the time you spent playing with me. That would be a significant emotional statement. Or, Dad, I remember how often you played ball with me. I'm sorry I never told you how much it meant to me, and I apologize for not telling you that. So even like open up to regrow your current relationships. That would be an apology, and then could actually blend the two into recovery component by saying, Dad, when I think about the time you spent playing ball with me, I really felt proud and appreciated that. I apologize that I never took the time to tell you. On the other hand, it could be negative, significant emotional statement and forgiveness. Like, Dad, when you never could find the time to play with me, I was disappointed. Still upsets me, and I forgive you for that. And that way to kind of reopen and heal the relationship. Mom, when you took the dishes out of the cupboard and put them away again, after I had done that, I felt like I wasn't good enough at doing dishes. This is something I could use at home. I felt disappointed and insignificant. I apologize for not meeting your expectations. I forgive you for scolding me about how I did the dishes. So just little things, how we like get sensitive about life. Mom, I so wanted to hear the words, I love you and long for that. You never tell me all these years. I acknowledge you weren't able to tell me you love me, and I'm not going to let that hurt me anymore. So just different things that you may write up. You may not actually approach them with it, but you could. Getting on to even week 7, like I said, I'll send this to all of you guys, but I should make sure it's in Dropbox. Did you need any help for your examples for the group? Like something you wanted to run for your group, or you already got yours down?
No, yeah, I was gonna ask you about your off hours.
Okay.
But since we're here now,
Yeah.
you can give us some examples.
So are you looking at the girls recovery program? You could lead any of those weeks that you want to lead. Any of them. And it literally tells you exactly how to run the group from start to finish.
Okay.
That's why that one is so cool. Like, you don't miss anything. If you choose week 5, you just follow the exact instructions on how to lead the group for week 5.
Okay.
Tells you materials you need, other stuff that's needed, and make sure I can save it so I can send it to you guys. And that was sent out the same way. So it's like an announcements. And I made it one of the most recent announcements in case you all needed it. So yeah, you kind of talk here and have statements about like, Dad, when blank happened, I felt blank and I apologize for. or Dad, when you blank, I felt blank and I forgive you for, or combining them like they said. I want you to know when blank happened, I felt blank and I want to tell you, I love you or forgive you. And so kind of working through some of those and then writing a letter to somebody. And that is about the halfway point. So yeah, they give you, again, the 8-week program, how to run 8-week grief support group program and the Grief Recovery Institute. Some people get certified in this and just run their own groups for folks out on independently. So that's an option. So as long as this book is, I want you all to have it. So before you lose access to the class, to download it. And if you ever in your internships run into having to run something like this, you have the materials to be able to run something like that. It's key to have a big backlog of resources, because you'll find in a pinch you'll be willing to pay for whatever it costs on the internet to buy something to model you after. So if I go into announcements, it's under course tools. I think for you guys it's the same. And it should be the most recent announcement has. It sure does. So the Girls Circle Manual, and if you needed the relationship with peers, tells you where you want to lead a group. This is where you want to click. It'll download for you. You'll get on and do any of these titles sound good to you? You've got week 1 is connecting with each other. Week 2 is labels, exploring new perspective. Week 3 is expressing myself. 4 is accepting all different parts of myself. 5 is cultivating respect. They all run about 5 to 6 pages. Giving voice to feelings, part 1, and then part 2. And then romantic relationships, what is it worth to you? Girl fights or girlfriends, and then week 10 is wholeness and completion, closing it out. So if any of those sound good, you could run any of those weeks, and it will tell you start to finish how to do it. So here is week 1 starts on page 13. So if you go up to here, and it'll tell you opening ritual, similar to what Kimira did a week and a half ago, really. I can't believe it's been that long already. Isn't that crazy? Mm-hmm. You have an opening ritual, you introduce the theme of the week, and it'll exactly have a check-in, maybe highs and lows of the week, or disappointment or a fight with a friend. Then you'll have an activity usually. Share that activity. And a closing ritual is, remember, most groups we lead in social work are 35 to 55 minutes. So you can bill for it, it's going to be a full-on hour. Just like our minimum class is only 50 minutes, it's the same thing. So say you do pick week 1, here it is again. It gives you the activity and the required materials. You may need a poster board. If you need help getting those, just ask and we'll find it for you somehow. And then here's week 1. It will say, well, it gives you a brief first. Here's your activities, creating group guidelines, and then the commonalities, bead game. Here's your material, poster, beads, journal, plastic bag. The purpose, to become more aware of your relationship with themselves and others, express themselves in the group. And then here's facilitator preparation. It breaks it down even more. So you can put these on a PowerPoint or note cards if it helps you lead it, but it tells you what to do with an opening ritual. Maybe it's ringing the bell. Maybe it's a song that starts off your group. Maybe it's silence or meditation or a prayer or something. Here's their examples. Light a candle, ring a bell, have a participant say one word how they're feeling, a moment of silence, music. Then you introduce the week, connecting with each other, theme introduction, and it gives you even things to say. Sometimes in society, girls' relationships are strained. There's backstabbing, competition, judgment, or fighting. The Girls Circle aims to develop true relationships and friendships in a healthy way. Girls often place more significance on the relationship with boys or men than relationships with girls or women, but love relationships can come and go for this reason. It's important to develop good relationships. The purpose of the circle is to bring women together. And then they jump into, well, yeah, here you do your icebreaker. Maybe it is highs and lows of the week, or ask what type of guidelines can we create? Like, how do we create safety? And you have everybody like write like confidentiality or whatever they choose. Then here's the guidelines, and it could be, that's why they have the poster board. So they all write one or two things. Then now it even gets more detailed. That's why sometimes they're 5 or 6 pages. Go around the room, do a check-in, highs and lows, one thing she hopes to get out of the group, one thing she feels about the topic of relationships. Then you can do your activity, which here they say the commonalities bead game. So like, see how it breaks down like minute by minute what you would do. So it gets you to cover your whole 15 to 25 minutes that you're going to run the group. It's on the most recent announcement. So I can also, sometimes this is fun, I can edit. Let's see if it lets me easily edit. Click on it. Click edit, wherever it is. Oh, it is. It sure is in here. So like a major edit, I can make it so it sends fresh again. And I'll add a file. I wanted to add this other group into here, my computer. And then, oh, I've got to find one though. Drop file here. And I think if I did it on Dropbox correctly, it will be under recents. There it is. Yay. All right. Then add. So yeah, it should come out as a new recent announcement because a lot of people are asking like, where's the Girls Circle manual again? That one seems to be people's favorite because it tells you exactly what to do the whole way. Like you can't screw it up. You just follow the instructions.
And that's exactly what I need.
See? Sometimes our bandwidth on our brain is low because we have 85 things going on. And then there's your closing ritual. So that should be everything for you guys. And I don't have very creative mind to just make this stuff up off the top of my head. Here's week 2, labels, exploring new perspectives. And I'll tell you. So did you guys get that announcement or did it not come out? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet. There's so many things going on. It's hard to reply to everything that's going on. So you have to create, you guys do this, like you got a calendar, it lets you create, add to the calendar. Well, no, I wanted that this time. Well, whatever. If I have it like an hour early, that's fine too. Well, here we go. Yeah, so do you ever use your calendar like this?
I don't. I'd rather write my stuff down in my planner.
Because it'll do something like it just showed me where it's like March 27th.
Some stuff automatically does.
What is the Committee on Student Relations? The Committee on Student Relations. Have you guys heard of that? Okay. Yeah, there's always 85 things. Like you guys think sometimes the papers that we get, like in undergrad and graduate school, it's like, man, why do we do this? I hope that what you're leading for us, you'll actually use in real life. So the idea is it's something you use in real life.
I need to get a binder and like put this stuff on.
Right. So you've got it forever.
That's what we do.
Or save to Dropbox. Have you ever done that? Do you have the Dropbox app?
Yeah.
Do you ever use it? It gives you 2 gigs. Look at this. Do you have a Mac?
Mhm.
So like even like, is there a topic of research that you're interested in? You just say off the top of your head. Sex. Like the group you led? Let's see if is there any other identifier besides that? What was the group? Like sex TDs? Well, here you go. Sexual abuse intro. And you get 2 gigs for free. And then the more people that you add, you get all of this research. And it's just cool that you can then search your Dropbox. You've always got it saved. I've had this now for 12 years. It's everything on. Well, yeah, this is sex abuse introduction, heavy hand of justice, sexual abuse, and then final exam instruction. So like everything needed with like a whole bunch of folders too about how sexual abuse happens, assignments and stuff. So that's why Dropbox is cool, is like you can save every single thing we ever send to you. As long as it's not a video or a photo, it's not going to fill up your Dropbox. So yeah, there you go. So if you use your Dropbox, here's even a PowerPoint for you.
Yeah. I'm okay. I'm sure.
And you can scan things. Like you got a paper.
Yeah.
Did you know that? So you just
Yeah.
go in right here. You hit add, new, scan. I can be like, there. It turns it into like what an actual scan would look like. It's freaking cool. Like signature pages and stuff. Like if you sign a contract. So bam, free space.
Because I don't have no more space on my phone.
Exactly. Well, yeah. So the key is save it to your Dropbox app. All right. See y'all.